we honor the legacy of Lata Mangeshkar. As Oscar-winning composer R RAHMAN explores the evolution of musical theatre in India. Moderated by RAMACHANDRAN, this discussion reflects on how India's vibrant musical theatre scene continues to be shaped by both tradition and modern influences, while celebrating Lataji's timeless contribution to music.
और उनके मैंने काफ़ी गाने गाए और उनका बहुत सपना था कि मैं फॉरेन में जाऊं और वहाँ म्यूज़िक करूं। वो भी उनका सपना पूरा हुआ। वो हैं R RAHMAN।
R RAHMAN is such a sweet composer. All the singers would love to work with him.
एक प्राणी मेरी जिंदगी में है जिसने मेरे को वर्ल्ड ऑफ म्यूजिक से इंट्रोड्यूस करवा दिया। दैट इज R RAHMAN। मेरी आत्मा से उसे प्यार था।
Rahman has a great sense of technology. He's a singer, he's a composer, he's a musician, he's an arranger.
My dream was to sing along with Lataji, and that also came true. And then I was thinking of why can't we do a song with Lataji?
Somebody like Lataji is not just a singer, not just an icon. I think part of the soul, part of the consciousness of India.
So where has she gone? Nowhere. In fact, she is more.
To drive this conversation, we have an internationally recognized critic and author contributing to Variety, Sight and Sound, and The Hindu. Please welcome Mr. RAMACHANDRAN. May I now request Shri Shekhar Kapoor, Festival Director of 55th IFFI, to please invite our next guest.
I'm here because R RAHMAN is one of my best friends. And he's an entrepreneur, he's a filmmaker, he is a technologist. Most of you know him only as a musician. Ask him about AI, he'll talk to you. Ask him about technology, he'll tell you. Ask him about what the world situation is, he'll tell you. And of course, he's a spiritualist. Ask him about spirituality, he'll tell you. So R RAHMAN, I don't know, Naman, what you're going to talk to him about, but this man is one of the most complete human beings I've ever met. And I'm proud to know him. When I sit with him and I do music, I feel close to God. So here he is, R RAHMAN.
I also request Shri Shekhar Kapoor, our Festival Director, to please come on stage to felicitate our celebrated speakers.
I also have to give them some food.
Thank you, sir, for joining us with the felicitation. And now over to Mr. RAMACHANDRAN with a gracious request to commence the conversation.
Thank you.
So we have lots to get through today, but let's start with a clip from a documentary that Mr. Rahman has produced called From Headhunting to Beatboxing, which is showing here at IFFI, because that will segue nicely into what Mr. Rahman wants to speak about today. Can we have the clip, please?
In all, I took 8 heads. The one I remember the best was the first. One day we left before dawn and waited silently till noon for our prey to arrive in the field. I crawled towards one of the men and fired the first shot and slit his neck.
The Japanese invasion of India reached Kohima. If the Japanese were not halted here, perhaps the Indian subcontinent would not have had democracy. Nagas were a peaceful people, an agrarian society. We worked in our fields, we were self-sufficient, and when people bothered us, we hunted heads.
From the other village, if something happened like encroachment, land encroachment is there, we then warn the people not to do that. If it happens again, then we will fix a day that we are coming on that day to take your head.
I think we've been going through a kind of, cultural renaissance.
I think music is a good transmission, where you can get connected with the physical and the spiritual things.
Our forefathers, they learned the tunes from the sounds of nature, the sound of wind and the sounds of the rivers.
These years of peace have actually allowed us to develop our artistic capabilities.
This is the story of a tribe called Nagas. This is the story of a place called Nagaland.
So the music of Nagaland is just one part of the vast tapestry of the music that is in all of India. So what drew you to this particular music, and what made you decide to produce this documentary?
Hello everyone. They had a violent past, and I always liked transformation to nation building, transformation to peace. And so the story was very interesting, 20 years before, if somebody had invited Nagaland, I would say no, then probably cut off my head. But now I think when I went for the Hornbill Festival, I saw a transformation, and that's so unique, it's so inspiring, when a society goes into peace, find their reason to change their lifestyle, to go into progress, nation building. I felt like there's some of the best songwriters out there in Nagaland, some of the best voices, and they have a minister for music and arts. So all that was very inspiring. So I told Rohit, come over here, there's something happening, and he started shooting.
And to come to the topic of today, the musical theatre of India, when we spoke earlier, you described it as your dream. So can you expand on that?
So coming from Chennai, I'd seen R Manohar, his dramas, and he had special effects of Parshuram, and he had many of the mythological plays, and I used to love them. They were in Tamil, and my father, I believe, had worked with them in the 60s. And when Roja happened, everything happened, and then Shekhar again introduced me to Andrew Lloyd Webber, and I got a call from Andrew Lloyd. So I heard this name, who's this guy? So when I went there is when Andrew said, he heard all my songs, and he said, you got to take the mantle of musical theatre in the world. And so what is this man saying? I'm just doing a film composer. But then over years, this was like a medicine which worked on my mind. Why did he say that? And can you write stories, he asked. And then you realized India for the past 5 decades have been progressing in movies, but on the other side of arts is still, very lacking improvement in musical theatre. We don't have our own symphony here, with the natives playing. There's so much of void in entertainment, in cultural richness of one side. I'm saying that's very culturally rich, but we didn't nurture the needs of the modern society. If any composer needs to do a big score, now you see the movies like Kalki, Bahubali, PS and all this is coming in, and we need a big score. We can't have 100 sarangis or sitars, but we need an orchestral score because our movies are being seen by international audience. So we need to raise the bar, like how we have an airport, we have planes which travel internationally. It's not just Mulakats and stuff. So that forced me to start the K Music Conservatory, the Sunshine Orchestra, in a very small way, but then we are happy about the progress of children transforming, winning international awards, and also being a part of our own musical. So like that musical theatre is something which we all go. We go to London or we go to New York Broadway to see Lion King, Phantom of the Opera, Romeo and Juliet, West Side Story. Who comes here to watch anything? And I said, we have so many stories, we have our people, we have Bharatanatyam, we have Kuchipudi, we have so much art forms which are still, I felt, not augmented to a level where we can just watch, we can have 3,000 people watching that stuff. So, because of my knowledge, because of my Oscars, because of all my connections and exposure to the world, even a place like Thailand has, or Bali has their own culture, it's done very internationally. I've never seen anything like it, except for Lata Mangeshkar's initiative last year. I think it's a great initiative, and we've been talking about it from 2014. I saw from the initial stages of that when they're building. One is not enough. We have so many different states, and we have 1.4 billion people. And this is jobs, this is tourism, this is pride, and this is also unity, because everybody comes together to make something beautiful. Yeah.
So, are you going to incorporate the various musical theatre forms in India, into this initiative? Like, for example, Karnataka has Yakshagana, Bengal has Jatra, and so on. There are so many across India. So, apart from inculcating this in the KM Conservatory, how else can this musical form evolve? And with your help.
First is infrastructure. The places where we enjoy music, or the places where things like this is so outdated, is not being to the next level infrastructure, because people have seen, people are traveling, people go watch, and we come back to 1960s, we come back to 1950s, kind of. You look at the Sphere in Las Vegas, they've gone to the next level of immersivity. You can have thousands of people watching and enjoying together. And this is another reason why being a musician and going into storytelling mode and adapting VR and immersive and olfactory, to see is there any alternative to cinema? Not alternative, I think, which can coexist, so that people can also experience things which they can never experience in cinema. Like, now we all have mental health issues, depression, because I think there's a void in all of us. That void can be filled by storytellers, by philosophy, by entertaining in a way where you don't even know that you're taking medicine, but not just catering to your carnal needs, like violence and sex and all this stuff. So there's much more than all that stuff. So it's all gone to the extreme now, because we all become insensitive to a shot being kept for 1 minute or two. Oh, that's lagging, we're cutting it off. and that's what I think the new mediums are going to, if somebody's acting, they command you to look at them, because that's the power of human nature, power of the soul. And that's why I think musical theatre is very important. And that's why I've come to probably celebrate one of the greatest artists of all time, Lata Mangeshkar ji.